Thank you.
Welcome to Outnumbered Overtime. Oh, geez, baby. I'm going to get on the live chat right now, and we're also on Facebook Live, so we want to welcome everybody. And as I said, as we were wrapping up the TV version of us, y'all are so shy.
Y'all. So shy.
That's what we say down in Texas. You just don't have anything to say.
So shy.
Seriously, this group was so spirited. At one point, I sat back, and somebody sent me a meme of Doc.
Who?
Like from the cartoons. And he was learning how to referee.
Oh.
I'll show it to you. I mean, it was super cute, but I was like, wait, who is
from
that?
Warner Brothers?
Look, isn't that?
Oh, yeah, from.
like from Snow White.
Snow White.
Yeah.
Oh, Doc, yeah.
Oh, Doc.
Actually, can you say? You have to say little people now.
Oh.
You can't say Snow White and the Seven
Dwarfs.
Well, isn't that the name of a book?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
so
is.
if
I'm just talking about political correctness.
But I think you can say the title of the book, right? Like, because if we start renaming stuff like that, then
we've already started.
It won't be Black Friday anymore. But it is a Black Friday sometimes, right?
That's right.
I'm not offended by that.
Good.
Because that's about money, right?
Yeah. I'm not offended by that.
Why is it Black Friday, by the way?
I never understood that.
Because there's on the ledger, the black, that's the one day that you turn your retail sales from the red into the black.
See, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm kind of liking that.
I never knew that.
And you're going to get
black's a good thing.
No. I was like, why wouldn't you call it Green Friday, the color of money? But now it makes sense.
That's a good point.
Absolutely.
Are people offended by that normally?
Huh?
I don't know. It seems like people are offended by everything. I'm not going to say I'm never offended, but things that offend me offend everybody.
Dolly Parton says, I'm not offended by dumb blonde jokes because I'm not dumb and I'm not blonde. And I always say that when people have
that's funny.
nasty things
That's good.
to say.
I like it.
Yes.
And we're talking about my wife commenting during the show. She doesn't like the word minority because she says nothing about me is minor.
And I've met your wife, and that's absolutely true. But I was wondering what other term that she would like, and
she sort of does it to dig into.
I got it.
Interesting, right?
I got it. Hi, Mrs. Asman.
I mean, really, I got it.
Mrs. Asman.
I wonder if I could rent out the safe space I'm not using. Is that possible? Anyway.
Interesting.
You can rent mine out, too.
Wow, we got a lot of people watching us on the live chat right now. I think James Carville should play Trump in Hillary Clinton's debate prep. That's
an interesting idea.
Marky Stokes. Boy,
that's a good one, actually.
It would be.
He's got a strong personality.
I think Anthony Weiner should play Donald Trump because they both say kind of crazy, outrageous things.
What was the most? Didn't he just get in trouble again?
Isn't he not allowed near Hillary, though?
Again.
Yeah,
he did it again.
Yeah, he did it again.
He did it again.
Twitter.
He claims he was catfish. He claims he knew all along that.
Why is he online messaging
Catfish, was that
strangers?
his nom de guerre or whatever?
But you do have some
His nom de guerre was.
I mean, he was in his hotel room online messaging strangers. Let me tell you, if my man was doing that, no, ma'am. I mean, that's cheating. No, it's really Anthony Weiner has ushered in conversations with me and many of my girlfriends about what constitutes cheating. Messaging sexual text to strangers is cheating.
That's cheating.
End of story, Anthony Weiner. And he's like, nothing really happened. It's debatably a victimless crime. I never met them in person. I'm like, whatever. It's nefarious. And you were, as far as I'm concerned, cheating on your wife.
Of course, Huma trained with the best wives in terms of being patient for all this stuff, Hillary Clinton. So Hillary's given her a lot of advice, I'm sure, about how to deal with somebody like Bill.
Look at our train move on to the next comment. Ryan Jade Condi says, and it's long, so and we love you back, by the way. So I'm going to cut to the point here. So be patient with me, Ryan Jade. I have never thought, as most Trump supporters, that there was ever going to be a roundup and mass deportation. That's just not logistically possible. The whole point of Trump's message is that there will be a wall to help prevent crossing illegally, and that anyone caught because they're doing something wrong would be deported instead of being released and running to a sanctuary city.
But
that's an interesting point.
But it is interesting because some countries in Europe are talking about now a wall. Because of the meltdown in the European Union.
Janny Lee writes on the live chat, too, sanctuary cities are as bad as illegal immigration. San Francisco is fast becoming. And she goes on because she's got many paragraphs here, too. But I just wanted to get those 2 points in. A lot of people feel that those two things go hand in hand.
Can I just give a statistic that, it just blows my mind the wall, however you feel, this is a fact. The ISIS caliphate, when it started in 2014, have slaughtered more than 2,000 people in 29 countries, not including Iraq and Syria. And thousands more have been injured. And we just had an attack in Virginia, right, with a guy who says it was ISIS-inspired, attempting to behead another individual and injuring
Well, look what happened at the wedding in Turkey.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, horrible. When you injure 100 people and kill 51, That's most people's entire wedding.
Yeah.
Well, the intifadas, by the way,
of a child,
the intifadas in Israel.
The Turkish government now is backing off on whether or not that was 12 to 14-year-old. We don't really know, the president, and we don't know the impetus behind coming out with that, or then not backing
the point,
it up.
I just got to get this in. The point is that walls work. It works in Israel. They stopped all the intifadas. Well, they still occasionally have intifadas, but for the most part, they cut them down dramatically with the use of a wall, and every Israeli will tell you that. And in San Diego and in certain areas of the California border, a wall has been very effective in preventing illegal aliens.
You know, but going back to your Turkish point about the child being used or not used, I don't know in this case whether he was or he wasn't, but we know, and there's records of the fact that ISIS specifically takes young children and teaches them how to train to be suicide bombers, and that's, you know...
I want to get this in from Scott Anthony, because I have seen some of this raid video, and I think maybe the administration didn't want to find a point put on it, but they have been deporting people. And Scott Anthony says, why does no one ever cover the fact that President Obama has actually...
More than any... You know what? I don't understand.
And he says, wait, more illegal immigrants than any other president before him. Now, there was just that sticky wicket of a fact that in the middle of his presidency, we let in 90,000 illegal children into the country. Remember that summer, just like 3 summers ago? Yeah. So deporting, I mean, okay, but we took in a lot.
But there were children who were fleeing literally rape and death.
I hear what you're saying,
South
but
America,
just when you look
America.
on a balance sheet, people going out versus people coming in.
I get it, but look, what Trump is essentially saying is that he's going to do exactly what Obama's been doing, just with more enthusiasm. Well, Obama's been pretty enthusiastic about deporting people, I might add, and a lot of people on the Democratic side
I don't think that enthusiastic is the way that many people would. He may have followed the law.
Well, he actually...
Why don't we know about these deportations?
Well, we know about them, and certainly people on the liberal side of the equation have been very frustrated with him because they think he's been a little too enthusiastic about deporting people. So, you know, you're damned if you are, damned if you aren't. But what Trump is suggesting now is that he's not going to do anything different than what Barack Obama's doing. He's just going to have a different
I'm not sure he did anything different. I mean, Barack Obama wasn't going to build a wall. Barack Obama wasn't going to do a lot of things in terms of, I hope one of the things he's going to do, by the way, as we talked about before, of really trying to straighten out our immigration service in general so that the decent people that come here just to work and add to our economy get preference over people who come here for some of the welfare benefits, which does happen. That's why a lot of the pregnant ladies that come into California from Mexico in order to have their children.
Mostly from China, though, actually, not from Mexico.
Well, no. China's a lot further away than Mexico.
No, but the people that come here to have children, for the most part, are people that come. There are wealthy people who come here from Asia.
For the most part, I wouldn't say that's true. I'd have to be convinced of the stats.
You know what? I am exhausted with having this conversation and it being so just all political. If you're from a border state like I am and you grew up in Arizona, it is so hard for me to sit here and say, yeah, let's deport everybody, let's do stronger walls, whatever. When you see babies and infants and toddlers who are coming here because they want a better life, and it just seems like our humanity and the fact that these are God's children who just want a better life like every other immigrant. And I'm not saying we don't have a problem. I'm not saying people shouldn't take advantage of the system, et cetera, but this rhetoric that we're going to kick them all out and build all these walls and it's going to solve everything, it's just not true.
I think part of the point is if the system is not broken, then those beautiful children don't have to hide.
It's true.
I think that's where we need, and you and I both have lived in a border state.
Yeah, you as well.
I live,
you closer, actually.
8 miles from Dallas.
Can I actually just say something from a very personal perspective? You know, I was lucky to come here as a child, as a refugee, purely because the country that I came from was in a Cold War with this one. And so they were allowing people who were Jewish to come here, really no limits.
Country was?
The Soviet Union, right. So literally...
Which part of the Soviet Union?
Moscow. So there was really no limit as to how many of us could come. If we could get out, which was impossible to do because the Soviets weren't allowing many people out. But if you were lucky enough to get a visa to leave the Soviet Union, you could come here as a refugee. So it is very hard for me, Meghan, in the same way that it's hard for you from a personal perspective. It is very hard for me to say that because of an accident of birth, because of where I came from.
I went to school with DreamAct students. It is what I get eviscerated by far more than anything about this issue because I just refuse to get on the bandwagon that they're all criminals, they're all rapists. The system is broken. The system is broken, but when you're calling an entire group of people rapists and criminals, and the thing about it is, too, and I mean this with all due respect, there's a whole new generation of voters we need to turn over to the Republican Party and to look at conservative values. And a lot of those people aren't white. So if we're stereotyping the Hispanic group of voters is the fastest voting demographic in the United States, so people aren't nuanced in the way that we are. They're not reading into everything. They're just hearing sound bites. And I just really worry about the long-term damage. And talking about Comprehensive immigration reform is one thing. I'm totally behind it. Always have been, always will be. People shouldn't be abusing our system. But we're taking it to this level. The rapists and criminals rhetoric.
Well, hold on a second. Because there was rhetoric and shorthand. What Donald Trump has done, and this is what's got him in trouble time and again with your father, with a whole lot of issues. He speaks in shorthand.
Yes.
And when you question him in detail, when he's on O'Reilly, and O'Reilly says, "Look, did you really mean that every Mexican coming here was a rapist?" No. But there was a report. By the way, it was an Univision. It wasn't an anti-Latin report. There was a specific report that showed that the women who crossed the border were 80% raped by the men that brought her across the border. And who was doing the raping? It was Mexican coyotes. Coyotes is a term that they use.
That's not how people
interpreted it. And that was done by Univision, that study, a very good study. If he had talked it out instead of using this businessman shorthand Donald Trump talk that he normally does, he wouldn't have gotten in trouble.
All right, guys, we got to scoot out of here. Mary Dean Kern, thank you for your comments. Some of those that I was sharing were on Facebook Live, which was really fun, along with our live chat. We'll come back and talk another day. It was good to have you.
Thank you.
We're going to lose the crew. They're going to lunch.
Oh, they've gone.